Guys, this tutorial will be on the walk cycle and what is required for you guys to complete the assessment tutorial. Now, a walk cycle refers to, in animation, frames put together to make someone look like they're naturally walking. This is an example that I did a couple of years ago, and it shows somewhat naturally, obviously it's a stick figure, but somewhat naturally the motions of walking. Now, when doing a walk cycle, it's very important to understand the basic positions of your legs and arms as you walk. To do this, it's as simple as getting up and walking around and understanding what is happening. The first thing you should note is that a walk cycle happens over 8 frames. Okay, so once after those 8 frames, they are then just repeated to do the next 2 strides. I say 2 strides because each stride has 4 frames in it. So if I take a stride out with my left foot, when I draw that, that's made up of about 4 frames. And then when I take a stride with my right foot, that's another 4 frames, making the 8 frame walk cycle, and then I'm back at the start so I can just repeat what I've done. Alright, first thing you're going to do is just open up a new document like I just did, and what we're going to do is call the first layer, double click and call it ground. And what I'm going to do is, using the brush tool, is do just a straight line going across. Okay, so it's not too straight, but it's good enough. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is create a new layer, and this is where I'm going to put my man. Ideally you should have the different elements of a walk cycle, like the body, the legs and the arms, on a different layer each. For this, very quickly, we're just going to do it all on the same layer. So the first thing I'm going to do is create, using the oval tool, making sure that there is no fill, but there is a stroke of, say, let's say 8. It's probably too big, is it? No, that's fine, we can use that. Right, so about 8. Then our brush, if I draw in a little face here, just very roughly, just a little half smiley face. So that is our head. Now we're going to do the body, and the body is as simple as that. Now it's important to understand, if you're doing something that is running, then their body will be on an angle, say like that. Imagine yourself running, you're tilted forward slightly, but if you're walking, it's going to be, the body or the torso is going to be straight up and down. So that's our body. Now what this body is going to do is pretty much remain the same through each frame of the walk cycle. So what I'm going to do is insert new keyframes after this one, and what that means is it's going to insert the same what's on that. If it's a keyframe, all the keyframe does, as we know, is copy the last frame. So to do that, I can just do function, the bottom left key on your Mac, and S6. And now I'm entering a frame, copying all the way up to 8 frames. So now I have 8 frames, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all with the same head on there, but I've also, you'll see that the ground has extended as well, to the point on each of those frames there is the ground there. So on the first frame, we're just going to move it into place, and I'm just going to put it here just at the start of the stage. The next one, it's still in that same position, but I want to move it and put it a bit back closer. Now to do this, I can turn on onion skinning. Now onion skinning is down the bottom of the timeline, and what onion skinning does, it allows us to see ahead of the current frame and before the current frame. But I don't actually need to see ahead of the current frame, so I'm going to bring this bracket in. So now all I see is what's behind it. So that's why I can see a faint outline of frame number 1, and that's for frame by frame animation, and allows us to just make sure we're up to the right position. If I go back to my example, you'll notice that the head bobs up and down in a wavy motion. See, up and down. That's because when you take a stride out with one of your legs, your head will actually be closer or lower to the ground, and then when you're halfway up the other stride, or when your leg is straight, you're higher up. So what I'm going to do, this first frame that I've moved there is going to be the person taking out a long stride, so that's going to be the lowest point, and now this one will be on the way up. The next frame I'm going to put up, this is going to be the top, so where my legs are going to be straight, so it's going to be the highest, and then this one is on the way back down. Now you'll notice I can see a number of different frames before it. That means I have this bracket set over 2 frames. If I was to bring this bracket in, just drag it in to one frame, it's only going to show what's on the frame before it. I can have as many as I like. I can show the last 4, or I can just have one. Now I only need one, so it doesn't confuse me, I'll just have one. Alright, so at the moment, where were we? So we're going up and then on the way back down. Now this one, it will be again back to the lowest point, taking another stride, and then now we're moving back up again to the top, and then back down before our first stride that we did back here. So after this frame would be whatever is on this frame, because again it's like a cycle, so it's like a circular motion. So once the 8 frames is complete, you can repeat them. Now you'll notice that this, my head going up and down, isn't exactly in the right spot every time. It could be up and down a couple of millimeters. Now that is good because everyone walks differently. So whatever walk cycle you do is fine, as long as you have a complete cycle. It doesn't have to be perfect in that the position of your, when you're extending on your left leg is the same as your right leg, because you're just you might have a different walk, which is completely normal. Alright, so now we're going to work on the first frame. Now it's very important that you do one leg at a time when doing this, that way you don't get lost. Now what I'm going to do is do my first foot, and it's not really going to be left or right because you won't be able to see because it's a stick figure, but I'm just going to do the first frame where I'm taking a step out to the end with my foot up. Okay, so this is the step out. Now that leg, as my body is coming through, will now be bent. Now it's very important in this section here, what happens is, if you imagine when you're walking, you take a step out, your heel remains on that ground and doesn't move. Your body is coming through, so I can just match up this heel, and I know that that's going to be in the right spot because my heel hasn't moved. Same with this one. Now my leg's going to be straighter. My heel is actually going to be in the same spot because the heel hasn't moved off the ground. My body's coming through, but my heel is staying where it is. And then this one is when I'm on the way back down, so I'm about to take another stride, so this is going to be bent. My heel might be up now, but the ball of my foot might be in the same spot. And now I'm taking a stride out, meaning I've got a full leg out and it's about to come through. So now, while I have to imagine that my other leg is the one that it's going to be pivoted off, so this frame is where this leg, back leg, is starting to come through to take another stride. So that means on the way up, imagine what happens when you're just bringing your leg up. It's coming up like this, so it's off the ground. Here is where the other leg will be completely straight, so this one is actually forward, maybe the knee, but then the back of the heel is behind that leg, like so. And then here is where I'm about to take another stride on the first frame, so it's not touching the ground yet. I might actually fix that one up a bit, make it a bit more like so, and then the next frame after this one would be my first frame where that one is touching the ground again. Okay, so it's pretty important that you understand that's how that frame rate works. So if I hit enter, okay, obviously it moves very fast. I might just move down my frames per second just so you can see that a bit slowly. Now I've already created a little one-armed or one-legged man jumping through the stage. Now if I was to move frames this one ahead, I can continue that one-legged jumping, but we're going to create a two-legged person walking. So I'm going to go back to frame number 1, and I'm going to create the back leg. Now the back leg, if this one's extending, it's going to be all the way to the back extended, just like so, remembering it doesn't have to be completely accurate to the other one because we all walk differently. So this one's about to put me at the top of my stride, so my back leg would be bent and it'd be off the ground, getting brought through, like so. Here is where my knee would be through, but be in that position maybe. The easiest thing to do is just imagine yourself walking. Okay, so here is where I'm taking another stride. So I'm about to put my leg out, but it's coming forward, and here is where it is taking a stride. So all the way to the ground and the foot up. Now, for the back leg, we have been pivoting off the back leg heel, but now with this last frame I did, my body will be now coming through over the top of this heel. So what I'm going to do is when I click on this one, when I do my leg coming down, it's going to be in that same position. Now this makes a big impact to the eye and it makes it look very natural. That's why you'll see in my example, every time the heel is at a certain point, you can see my body coming through over the top of each leg that hits the ground. Okay, because if they've been separated, it'll make the animation look jumpy. So where am I? So at the moment, I'm bringing through another leg. So on this one, that foot is still back here, but these legs are straight. Okay, so what I might do actually is draw it there. Now you'll notice that you'll probably see that this is wrong because it's not matched up, but I think that that person was probably just a bit too far ahead. So I'm going to select this frame and it's going to select everything on that frame. I'm just going to move it back to match up that heel. And here, same again, my back leg's going to be extended before I take another stride. But again, I know it doesn't match, but what I'm going to do is select that frame again, and then arrow key and move it back onto, select again, and then move that back onto the heel. Alright, let's have a look what it looks like now. Alright, so obviously it's sped up, but it does start to look like a bit of a walk cycle. Okay, so the next thing we need is arms. Now the arms are a lot simpler because they don't require as much movement. You imagine your arms when you're walking are staying in the same position, they're just swinging from side to side. Okay, so basically what we're going to do is very quickly do our arms, and I'm going to do them both at the same time, but when I have my legs out, let me just do those again. When I have my legs taking a stride like that, my arms would be at the most point where they're separated, but now they're being brought forward, so they're actually next to each other, so we can just do both at the same time, just in the same position, very quickly. Again, they're going to be together. That one probably we might just do again. Here is where we start to stride out, so I'm going to go again. And then here I've taken a stride, so I'm going to make them further apart. And coming back down. Let me make that a bit longer. This one, they'll be next to each other because I'm taking a stride up. And the last one is when they're about to take another stride, which is going to be the first frame. There we go. And to repeat, all you need to do is select all these frames, select them, copy the frames, and then paste them after paste frames. Now what's happened is, on this frame, I'll need to move this man into this position, this one into this position, and you notice that my ground is gone, so all I'm going to do is insert a frame. Okay, he's done. This one there, there, very quickly selecting each frame as I go all the way, so the man is actually walking off the stage. And let's have a look. Okay, moving very fast, but good enough. And that's it.